lived on the bottom floor, and we were all the way on the top. So we shared some communal areas. The bathroom was one of them. So I wasn't exactly sure who it was in there, but I had a great idea. I thought it was my boyfriend. So I was kind of knocking on the outside of the door, messing around, and he didn't answer. So I got kind of nervous then, because that wasn't something he would do. So I went to try to open the door, and when I tried to, I could not really open the door. For myself, because I don't want to get myself upset, and for you guys, and for the fact that this is not also my own story to share, I will not be going into the whole detail of what else had happened after that. But I'd lost him. He was gone. He was never coming back. I didn't get to say goodbye, and all I wanted to do at that moment when I was fucking around at the door was to give him a hug when he had opened it, because it's what I was expecting him to do. So I did not expect my whole entire life to change in an instant. My entire life. Not even just my relationship, but my whole perception of how I see life. Because I'd seen things that I was never meant to see. And that changed me completely. It changed my perspective of life. It changed my interactions with people. I'd always been, as a child, very, very young, I was shy. And then I kind of changed from that and was always outgoing for a while. And then my anxiety came and crept up on me, and that was kind of just holding me down anyway. And then it just knocked me down, took everything from me, took my soul, basically. I felt like I had nothing to give anymore. So I was forced to leave my job. I couldn't, that's a whole different story I won't talk about, but a lot of different things were going on top of that. And I kept holding on, even though all I wanted to do was not. But the whole time that I was either consuming by smoking, or when I'd had my surgery and I couldn't smoke, I was using tinctures, edibles, stuff like that. I wouldn't be okay if it wasn't for cannabis. And I'm not just saying, I'm not saying all these things because I'm trying to pressure people to get into smoking or doing whatever that involves consuming cannabis, if that's not what they're interested in doing. I just want to advise people that don't realize how beneficial it can be, not only just physically, but mentally, and how much it can actually help. And it's not just something that you hear about in a rap song, and it's not just something you see on TV that people stereotype. It is something way bigger than what we have perceived it to be for so long, or put it out there to be like. Not by we, I don't mean me. I don't try to do that. I definitely am trying to do the opposite of that. But I think you get what I'm trying to say. But yeah, cannabis has been something I've been passionate about before that. And then after having to deal with all this trauma I've dealt with my whole life, and now that too, I definitely can say 100% that if it wasn't for cannabis, I would not be the same person. Even though I'm not the same person anyway, I wouldn't be who I am now, and I wouldn't like that. I can't say I know who I would be like, but I don't think I would like that person. And for that reason only being, my moods switch back and forth so often without consuming anything. My health, I have a hard time eating foods. Not so much that I'm dependent. There have been times though that I have been super dependent, that I'd have to smoke to be able to eat, which that is not good. But now I've kind of broken out of that. It's more so just the mindset of making myself do these things, because depression can be so deep, and PTSD and all these things that you deal with, it can just make you shut down. And I've experienced a lot of different things in my life, and many people might think that because of the age that I'm at, or you might be at if you're at the same age or younger, whatever. Just because you're young does not mean that you've not experienced all walks of life. I feel like I've lived a century, and I'm only going to be 25 soon, in about 6 months. I'm only 24 years old. So to have experienced what I have, and to have the perception now that I have, and trying to better myself every day, I feel like there's not that many people out there that can say the same, and that makes me sad, and I hope that changes. And not only cannabis, but I will say too, before I wrap up what I was going to say, animal therapy too. Like, without my dog, I would not be as happy as I have been. My dog Max has been my guardian angel. I love him so, so much. He's actually sitting right behind me. He likes to hang out with me whenever I do these for you guys. Whenever I'm actually doing anything and I'm in the house, he's always not too far behind me. He's either a couple feet behind me or right next to me or on my lap. So I love him to death, and I love having a dog. I've always wanted one my entire life, and I'd only had my first dog when I was very young. I had a puppy. He was a Pekingese, and his name was Sammy. He was the cutest little thing. Unfortunately, though, he had passed away when he was a puppy. He'd gotten outside and unfortunately was taken by coyotes. It was very sad. But ever since then, I'd never had a dog, and I'd certainly not had one that was my own. That was our family dog. So I'd lived with cats and other different animals my whole life, so I'd wanted a dog since then, and I'd wanted a dog prior to that. My whole life I've loved dogs. So it means so much to me to have him. I'm so grateful for the things in my life, and I'm trying to focus on that more than focusing so much on the woulda, coulda, shouldas, because sometimes that gets in my head a lot with anxiety, or things that have happened in the past that I cannot, it's kind of the same thing, things in the past that I cannot change. That kind of does correlate also with anxiety, because anxiety is thinking about the past and the future and whatnot. And I had a good talk with one of my friends about that the other day. So, yeah. What I want to say, though, before I just continue, I don't want to continue rambling, thank you for letting me share this with you guys, if you're listening, and I hope that I was able to either help with, in any way, whether it be some knowledge to share, or just something that to vent with that you can connect on, whatever it may be. I hope that I had helped in some way, and I appreciate you guys listening whenever you do. I really do appreciate it. It's been hard for me over the years to have branched out and now finally shared my voice on the internet, because I've never really been vocalizing any of my feelings. Most of the time it's always been in text or pictures and videos. So, and by videos I mean me smoking. So never really anything with a voice. So thank you guys again for letting me share all this. And yeah, below I'm going to have some helpful links below that I think could be helpful and useful. And again, I will be putting the trigger warnings at the top as well. So yeah, bye guys. Thanks for listening. And next podcast, I'm going to be switching gears 110%. We're not going to be talking about anything that can be in the sad feels. So we're going to be talking about some pretty fun stuff next episode. So yeah, bye guys. Happy toking.